Story time. I ended up marrying a ritualist because of the pressure from my family. Simply because I was approaching 230. I was in my late 20s and they expected me to get married by the time I was 30 years old. Here is my story. I understand so many people who come from Africa would resonate to my story because from where I come from, there is an expectation of you need to be married or you need to have married by the time at least you're getting to your 30s. And anytime you're on your 25th birthday, parents, your family member will be expecting to see someone. And it becomes a concern, especially your aunties and your parents, if they completely see nobody. Here I am, I'm 25 years old. I met this very perfect man. And it is someone that I really hoped that would have ended up into marriage for better, for worse. But eventually I came to realize that this guy was, of course, cheating with other multiple women in my church. So I gave up on that kind of marriage because, of course, no one would want to marry a player. So I stayed single for quite some time, about 4 years until when I was 29. And then, of course, the pressure from my family, they all want to see their grandchildren. They want to see their son-in-law. They want to have an extended family from my side. And it was becoming crazy because, you know what? All my siblings were already married. And me being the firstborn, everyone wanted to see where my future was heading. So I became desperate and I was so overpressured. And I decided to come onto the social media and see if maybe I could connect to someone. I know so many people by now will be judging me, but if you're in your 30s, you understand what that means. If you're approaching 30, you will understand what that means for me. So I was like, let me maybe go back on my Facebook and my Instagram because they're very famous at this point. And I was like, probably I'll be getting someone, of course. And here I was. I went back to my Facebook and started connecting to my family because at this point I was a very big person on my Facebook. I went to the Instagram. Most of the people that were following me on Instagram, I did not get like the kind of the rich people that I really wanted because at 30, you really need to get someone who is stable. And nothing else will convince you. So Lioness Lizzie, here I am, pampered myself, looking good, chilling out, hanging out with friends, trying to see if I can attract a babes. And eventually, one of these fine day, I come to my Facebook and I meet this guy who has been consistently texting me, hello, hi beauty, you look good. This guy has been responding on my status, on my my Facebook post for quite some times, for a period of almost a year. And I was like, come on, this guy looks like someone who can keep a relationship. Because of desperations, of course, and all that, I went onto the Facebook profile to check who this babes is. So I was checking his lifestyle and I was like, oh, come on, he looks like he's someone who is really stable. And being a woman who I am, of course, I wanted to settle down with someone who could provide for me. Please do not judge me. Anyway, I decided to give this guy a chance and said hello back. And from that specific moment when I started chatting to this guy, the conversation kept on going on and going on. We started having video calls. We started having text messages. I ended up getting introduced to his family and it was all over social media. Lioness Lizzie is coming out of the market. Hey. So, guys, after some times, the guy decided to introduce me to his friends. At this point, I haven't met this guy like face to face, but we are all over on video calls, social media, texts. He's posting my photos. He doesn't have that he doesn't have that kind of big follower, but yeah, you can clearly see he has become comfortable with me. So anyway, after some times, I was like, why not give this guy a chance? So at this point, I did not have any worries because I'm very stable myself. I already had some careers that I was chasing. I had my business. The guy already told me that he has a business. He's introduced me to his colleagues, and I was pretty much settled. I knew this is exactly the kind of a man that I wanted. Anyway, fast forward. The guy decided to invite me to go and visit his family for the very first time. And I was like, yo, that is fine. I'm so excited. And I really wanted this to happen so that, of course, I can come back to my family and introduce someone that they've been waiting to see for the very long time. Anyway, he booked me a ticket to fly to his home country, which is far away from my home country. So I'm going interstate. You can imagine that. I landed to the airport. The guy came to pick me with his family and his colleagues. It was a whole big party. I did not get to tell my family what I was doing at this point because I was a bit skeptical. I didn't know what to expect. I wanted to tell them when the deal is 100% true. So I was like, let me just chill. And then once everything goes all well, I will, of course, introduce this guy to my family. So long story short, I've landed into this new country that I've never been to. We drove about like 3 hours to get to the city, to where they were living. So the guy is like, oh, babes, do you want to spend in my family home, or do you want to have maybe the first night in my house? What do you want? I will do everything as per your reference, or as per your choices and preferences. I was like, no, whatever you do, I trust you. I'm quite flexible, but because at this point, I'm pretty well known by the family. I'm also very well known by the friends. So I was very comfortable with whatever comes on. I was just okay. So the guy said, okay, cool. What we'll do, we are going to spend at my mom's so that we can do this thing like in a very official way. They will all get to meet you. I've already introduced you to my aunties and my elder uncles. They will have to come down so that they can meet you tonight. So remember, this is about midday during the day on a Friday evening, and I was like, I'm on a Friday midday, and I'm like, by the time it is evening, we'll be starting a whole party where their family will come in to see me for the very first time. Anyway, me being the wife material that I really wanted to be, I was like, no, that's fine. Immediately we get home, I need just to go shower, change, come up with the qualities of a wife material. And the guy looks really, really, really cute. Look very presentable. The car he's driving is all my dream car. He's the man that I once thought I really wanted at that kind of my age time. So anyway, we get into their home. Come on, these guys are rich. When you talk about rich, these guys are rich. And I was already having this impression of, oh, how will this look like? Because where I come from, like my family are kind of like laid back people. My dad, my mom, they're both teachers, like the way a teacher normally marry teachers. So yeah, that is the kind of a home where I come from. And I was like, no, that's fine. Anyway, in the evening, the party's there. Your lady's looking good, of course, with good makeup, just slightly of lipstick, just looking of that wife material vibe. Of course, long dress, just relax and waiting to see where the evening will take me, because of course I knew this is the family that I was going to get into. Fast forward. About 10 p.m. after the ceremony, we've met everyone. Now this guy come and tell me, you know what? We need to do something that we normally do, and you need to be part of it. So I was like, what is it? He's like, there's a ritual that we normally do, and my parents are already pushing me because they already like you. I'm like, ritual? What do you mean? And he's like, there's something that is called a blood ritual, whereby they will get a piece of your skin and get a little bit of blood and do the same with me, and then we'll have to bond ourselves by blood. And I was like, yo, okay, that is interesting. This is where the culture meets another culture. I was like, it's already crashed, but what can we do? Let's do the bonding. Lioness Lizzie, it all went down. Part 2. So my ritualist family came up with something like a bonfire, and we are all seated around the bonfire. It is very late at night, about midnight. And then they said that the two of us, all the kids went to bed, and it was only meant for grown-ups. So we were all sitting around the bonfire, and they all just went like quiet. And then the eldest brother to my uncle's husband to be was the one carrying on the program. So he says, the two of you need to come and sit here, and what will happen now. They started explaining to me, and then this lady, I think she's the cousin to the husband to be, comes from the living room with a tray. They were having some gloves there. You know, it is kind of like a trace from the medical hospital or whatever. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I'm wondering, wait, what are these guys going to do? And they dimmed the lights. Now we are using the candles, and we have the bonfire there. We're like, oh my God, what is going to happen? In my head, so many things are running around, and I'm thinking, oh, probably it's just like some of the things they have to do before they approve you to kind of like go ahead and have that affair with their son. So I was very comfortable. I was a bit worried, but I was very comfortable. I trusted this family. I knew they just wanted the best for the two of us. Anyway, the guy came, sat down on the floor, and I was told to kneel down. So the eldest uncle, the eldest uncle came with a small knife, like the one they do operation with, and then they had to cut my skin, some few spots on my skin, from on my shoulder, my back, on my hands, and then on down on my toes. So they squeezed the blood, and then they did the same to the guy, and then they were like, we need to mix this blood together, and then you guys, you can proceed, and you will be recognized as the married, or as someone who's going to get married in to this family. This is normally what we do. So yeah, they did the act. I was okay, but guys, something came to my head, and immediately I started thinking of what was happening after that. Because the guy said, okay, so what will happen? We need to drive from their home, and you need to go and sleep in my auntie's house, where we'll be spending the night. And we need to just go there. And I was like, no, why can't we just stay here? Because they have a big house. It's beautiful, it's comfortable. At this point, I know almost everyone, and because I'm the center of the attraction, and everyone knows me, so I was like, why can't we just spend the night here than going around? Of course, I'm already traumatized, and I was hoping maybe we'll go out with the friends, but he says no, according to the taboo, we have to go to our auntie. So I was like, okay, cool. Who doesn't want a husband? I'm desperate. At this point, I need to get married. And I'm like, maybe this is just the last step of me getting to the lady that I've always wanted to see in that long wedding gown. Anyhow, so we drove to the auntie, which is like about half a kilometer, not too far from their house. And then he was like, oh, we already have a room here. I have a bedroom. We'll be sleeping here. So the bedroom is upstairs. They have like 2 other floors. And I was like, the bed is like the far end, the last one. And it's a big bedroom, self-contained, with everything set. So he was like, this is our bedroom, because you are the lady of the night, will be spending here together with me. At this point, we've already been given permission to come together, so there's not any big issues. So I was like, oh, cool, of course, at least I have one. So big people, must I keep on explaining these things? I don't need to explain everything. Anyway, about 3 a.m. in the morning, remember, we ended up sleeping, and I'm sleeping, he's sleeping, we are sharing the bed. So about 3 a.m. I noticed there's this kind of voice coming from somewhere where I cannot even identify, and I'm like, come on, what is happening? Who is this? Who are these talking? You cannot clearly hear what they're saying, but it kind of sound like, gibberish, like, I think you guys can understand. It's a language that you do not know what they're saying. And I'm like, who are these? So I kept on trying to listen, but I cannot understand. I can hear clearly there's some people talking, but I cannot understand. And I was a bit frustrated. I tried to be like, oh, come on, let me just wake him up so that at least he can get to understand that I'm worried. Guys, when I went to turn, there's no one in the bed. And then at this point, okay, I thought like, come on, Lizzie, he's the one talking maybe to his auntie and relative. Maybe they're outside. You cannot understand their language. So I kind of like settled down and I was like, okay, let me just sleep. So I decided to go back to bed to sleep. Poor me. So the gibberish thing continued. At some point, I thought like I was dreaming. I'm trying to get up. You know, sometimes the way you experience sleep paralysis and you're fighting your brain, you're screaming, you're talking to someone, you're trying to get up, but you cannot. I know some of you understand what sleep paralysis is. So I kind of thought like I was in a wild, out of my mind where I'm fighting unknown battles. But then I'm like, no, I'm trying to get up of bed because now I feel like these people, they are all over my ears and they're talking gibberish. I cannot understand them. And it seems like I'm being prompted to do some things and I'm trying to get up. It is not possible. I'm trying to sleep. It is not possible. So I'm kind of like just caught in between where I'm fighting unknown rituals battles. Anyway, guys, it was so long, and from like, you know, the way you feel like you've been fighting something in your dream for like a whole night and maybe it just went for like few seconds. So I felt like it was all night struggle. Anyway, I kind of like came back to my senses in like some few seconds, and the only thing that I remember happened was I just wanted to go to the toilet immediately. And I was like, okay, cool. Let me just go to the toilet. I'm like, no, I'm so pressed. And if I hold on even for a second, I'm going to pee in this blanket. So I was like, no, come on, Lizzie, just stand up and go. So I forced myself. And at this point, I cannot even say the blood of Jesus. I'm just like, yo, I just need to go to the toilet. But the gibberish thing is like all over the house. So I stood up, turned on the lights. I'm like, yo, guess what? About 20 people, they have surrounded my bedroom. They are all wearing black suits, black goggles. They have covered their head with black hairband. And I'm like, yo. So I went like mute. I was in a shock panic attack. I just peed on myself. That is all the only thing that I remembered, because at this point, I don't know what is happening. And they all just went quiet, bent their head down. So I freaked off and I called this guy immediately. I'm like, yo, I cannot even identify who is who because they're all looking alike. Anyway, by the time I'm trying to run back to the bed, so guys, this is not a dream. This is a reality. By the time I'm trying to run back to the bed, I realized I'm in a bush. It is morning. People are surrounding me. What has happened? What is happening? People are asking me questions. Others are recording me. They're asking me, how did you end up here? Some are calling me a witch. Some are asking me where your clothes, because I was having my PJ. And, you know, I'm a beautiful girl in my makeup. You can see my nails. You can see my wig on. But where are the clothes? Where do you come from? I come from my country. And they're like, who did you come to see? Where is your phone? I cannot remember anything. This is how I ended up knowing that I had ended up into a ritualist hand. I lost my phone, lost all the evidence, lost this guy. I went back to see. Disclaimer, this is not my personal story. Let me drive and go get some more stories. Stay tuned. So in case you're looking forward for someone to help you to move to Australia, UK, Canada, USA, Ireland, I am here. Exodus International. We are empowered to help you study abroad. I will be connected to you guys sometime soon with more amazing stories. Cheers.